debate about, is there such a thing as a rising damp? Yes, there is, but it's 1 in 100,000. It is so rare. I think I've only come across it in the last 25 years once that I can truly say this is rising damp.
And we're constantly told about rising damp, aren't we? As Lisa just said, the first thing they say when you have a damp issue is, oh, it's rising damp.
Well, there are
for you
factors.
To say that is fascinating.
As you've quite rightly said, people come along and say you need a chemical damp-proof source, so you end up having these little bullet holes drilled. We've been to houses where it looks like somebody's taken a machine gun at the wall. They're everywhere. The point is, first of all, I think in order to understand that, you need to understand what a damp-proof course physically does and what it is. It's a layer amongst the brickwork, not far from the ground, which in very old properties, it was layers of slate. In some properties, it's specially baked black bricks that are waterproof, and you get 3 tiers of them. So if you see black bricks, that in itself is a damp-proof course. Modern homes have these waterproof material that goes in between the bricks, and it's got to be about 150 millimetres off the ground, and there's a reason for that. And if you live in a really old house that's made of cob walls, which is straw and clay, you don't have a damp-proof course because they're allowed to get wet and go out again. And old country houses that have got stone walls, they don't have damp-proof courses. And yet I've seen people try to put a chemical DPC in an old stone wall, wasting their time. The point is, groundwater can wick up a brick. You stick a brick in water, the water will wick up the brick, make it wet. This is the reason why you have a damp-proof course in modern homes. But the point is, what people think is that damp-proof courses are there designed to stop water solely coming up. But because a damp-proof course in itself is waterproof, it will stop water coming down. And you get the same effect. So you can actually have water coming down from a window, say a gap in the window, and rainwater penetrating from the window, coming into the wall, hitting the damp-proof course, and then because it can't pass through it, it spreads all along round near the skirting board. And it's clear, you can see a clear wet mark. Now that isn't rising damp at all, it's simply come down. And what can also happen if somebody decides that they'll improve their outside ground and they raise the ground level, put up a new patio, do various things, and they raise the ground level above the damp-proof course. So now the damp-proof course is no longer effective at all because the ground is actually higher than it. But the thing about rising damp or damp coming from the ground, it contains salts, nitrates and sulfates. And when they are wicked into the wall, after a period of time, it gets to a certain height, and then the water in the wall will evaporate, and those salts crystallize because they're carried in solution, but they can't evaporate because they're minerals, so they then end up looking like sandpaper. And that is quite, if you've got that kind of thing, you might have rising damp, but a very easy test will test to see if there are any salts in it or not. So what I can simply say is it's very rare, and the majority of times people will say, oh yes, you need a damp-proof course. That's because they're selling you a damp-proof course. It's not the real reason.